Number 4. Men constantly decide I am too much work. Because I have needs and feelings, she says, and I'm not some accommodating robot, I'm too much trouble to bother with. There are so many options online that they can easily find some girl who doesn't require anything of them. I avoid all the douchebags by refusing to let go of my standards, but I'm getting rejected by so many men that it's starting to screw with my head. You know what's funny? When women describe their neuroticism and their unrealistic expectations as needs or feelings, right? Girls are so impossible to deal with these days. It's no wonder dudes are only using them for sex. The less time you spend with a girl, the less of a headache she can be. But here's Ms. Horton's main problem. When she says, I'm too much trouble to bother with, she has no idea that it means she's simply not worth dealing with anymore. Young, pretty girls get more leeway in the way of dating because they are young and pretty. It's a cost-benefit analysis. A female's youth and beauty make her dealing with her nonsense worth it to some degree. It's just like sports. For all you sports fans out there, the more talented player X is, the more shenanigans Team Y will put up with. Antonio Brown and Odell Beckham Jr. come to mind immediately for me. These guys are constant distractions in the locker room and in the media, but because of their talent and because of their production on the field, teams deal with it. Terrell Owens was also in that camp. He was a huge distraction in San Francisco. He then came to Philadelphia, here to Philly, blew up that locker room and did the same thing in Dallas. Okay? Teams put up with that. But when his skills diminished, he couldn't even get a contract with the Bengals. He played for the Bengals and they decided, you know what? Thanks, but no thanks. Amy Horton is the equivalent of Terrell Owens, guys. Guys used to deal with her nonsense, but because she was young and pretty. But now that she's in her 30s, dudes ain't trying to deal with her nonsense anymore. But instead of saying, I'm too old to put up with, she says, I'm too much trouble to bother with, as if to imply that men are the issue and not her diminishing beauty. Then she complains that there are girls out there who don't require anything of them. This, again, is a female who expects men to cater to her for no other reason but that she's a woman, and she is surprised that there are other women who understand that at their advanced age, the beggars can't be choosers. Some women get it, she doesn't. These are the musings, guys, of a female who is grossly overestimating her own sexual market value. The fact that she indirectly says that she requires things from these men is laughable. What exactly are you requiring? You want men to open doors for you? You want men to be a gentleman to you who treat you like a lady? Sweetie, you're about to be 35 years old. Okay? You had your chance to dictate what you wanted out of men in your 20s, but because your sexual currency is next to nothing, now you want to complain that other women your age have figured out that they're in no position to make requirements of men? What sense does that make? Then she says she's refusing to let go of her standards, and that's the problem. As a post-wall female who has been rode hard and put away wet, you don't get to have standards anymore, boo. Ms. Horton, you'll take what you can get because your options are limited, and that's what's really screwing with your head. All right, let's continue. Number 5, I demand common courtesy, she says. Therefore, I am considered a pain in the ass. She continues, women must have horribly low standards these days because guys are always shocked when I want them to give me respectful treatment. Yes, if you want the pleasure of my company, I expect you to plan a date. It doesn't have to be fancy, but at least come up with something. The level of laziness among single men is appalling. No wonder none of them have girlfriends. Now she's resorting to the name calling, guys. You're a douchebag. No wonder girls don't like you. You don't have a girlfriend. No wonder you don't have a girlfriend. When females start saying things like this, they know that the end is near. Anyway, it's not that women have incredibly low standards, Ms. Horton. It's that your standards are too high for your sexual market value. You see, men are shocked when you want them to give you respectful treatment because you're 35, you're past the wall, and you don't act like a lady. Here's another thing that women of all ages are grossly unaware of. You have to earn respectful treatment from men who are worth a damn. You don't just get to show up and get treated like a lady because you have 2 X chromosomes. Now, back in the day, treating a woman like a lady was standard because just about every female was worthy of respectful treatment. Why? Because they were respectful. Women back then didn't wear pajamas in public. They didn't give it up to anything with a Y chromosome and a smile. They said please and thank you and smiled and were pleasant. But women these days are literally the polar opposite. Guys, today's women are the furthest they've been in terms of being worthy of respectful treatment from men than they've ever been in history. So Amy Horton expecting respectful treatment when she's acted like a neurotic, entitled, and promiscuous woman until, I don't know, maybe about 15 minutes ago, that's laughable. And newsflash, Ms. Horton, your company is not pleasurable unless we're having sex with you, and even then, it's lackluster. Guys, this is how women think. They think that by simply being present, that you are indebted to them. Well, he owes me respectful treatment at dinner and drinks because my presence alone is worth all that. Get the hell out of here with that. Are you serious? If I swipe right, if me, Donovan Sharpe, if I swipe right on a 30-something slut, the only thing I'm planning is the time I schedule my Uber to come and get me after I blow her back out for 6.5 minutes. I ain't sticking around for chit-chat or her valuable company, and neither is anybody else. Oh, and by the way, Ms. Horton, the reason why these men don't have girlfriends is because none of these hoes is worth committing to, and they know this and act accordingly, which is to blow your backs out, then bounce like a bad check before you get your bra back on. Funny, you act like this is the reason they don't have girlfriends, yet you're visibly bothered by the fact that they rejected you. So if you're feeling some type of way about being rejected by men who are supposedly losers, then what's that say about you and your choice of men? Number 6. Even when I think things are going well, I get ghosted. She continues, sometimes guys actually lead me to believe they're interested. Oh my God, I can't believe it. Like women never done this before. They say lots of pretty things and compliment me. They state their excitement to spend time with me. Funny enough, when it comes down to actually jumping in, they suddenly make excuses and disappear. What kind of a world do I live in where guys are too afraid to actually meet in person? It's bizarre. Guys, there's nothing bizarre about this. This is simply a byproduct of a man with more options than you. He'll swipe right on you because you're decent looking. He'll express his excitement to spend time with you and all that. But what she's not telling us are 2 of the main reasons dudes are flaking on her. Number 1, she makes it crystal clear that she's not looking to hook up by shutting down any attempt at sexual escalation. And number 2, she then demands common courtesy. Guys, this woman is in her mid-30s, but she's acting like she's in her mid-20s, and this repels men in demand. They're not trying to deal with a female who has an inflated sense of entitlement and then tries to force them to treat them like a young, pretty girl worthy of courtesy and respect. They're not ghosting because they're afraid to meet up. They're ghosting on you because you're a used 1998 Ford Mustang with 257,000 miles on it, but you got a price tag of a 2020 Mustang Stingray. Dudes ain't paying sticker for a used car, hun. That's not fear. That's called common sense. Number 7. I get tossed aside so frequently that it is messing with my head. I had to delete all the dating apps, she says. I know that I am a wonderful woman and a great girlfriend, but the callous disregard of men online made me question my own self-worth. I started thinking that maybe there's something really wrong with me and that these guys find me too intimidating and ambitious for them. In reality, I can't change the fact that they're so insecure. She's a critical mass here, guys. Oh yes, don't get it twisted. She, like most post-wall females, blames everyone and everything but herself for her declining sexual market value. Instead of acknowledging that she's older and less attractive, she blames the deterioration of the dating market. Instead of realizing that she's just not worth the trouble anymore, she blames other women for having low standards and being too accommodating, which means actually acting like you like the guy. God forbid. Instead of understanding that her company outside of sex isn't worth dealing with, she blames men's laziness and cites that as the reason they don't have girlfriends. And then she says that men are afraid to meet up with her, instead of coming to the realization that dudes have better options available to them. So now here she is at number 7, blaming men once again for her own deficiencies. She is just too intimidating and ambitious for them. They're so insecure. The funny thing is she almost kept it real with herself when she says she's starting to think that there's something wrong with her. But then she immediately reverses skate and goes right back to the insults and blaming men for not choosing to be with her. If she were such a wonderful woman and a great girlfriend, she would be with someone, right? Like, that's the simple math. But she isn't, so she's not. And in order to sleep at night, she has to tell herself and others that there's nothing wrong with her, but something wrong with men. This is the typical rhetoric of females who are getting left behind for younger, kinder, more feminine women. And it's as simple as that. Number 8. I like who I am, but it seems most guys don't. I'm tired of men who say one thing and then either back out of it or act completely the opposite. One minute I'm the coolest, most genuine, interesting, grounded woman they've ever met. The next, I'm too much for them and they feel that I deserve better than them. Just be honest and quit with the lame cop-out, she says. I like who I am, but this pattern makes me feel bad.